Welcome to our Coach's Corner podcast. I'm your host, Eric, and I want to thank you for joining us as we turn up the heat by sharing our thoughts on health and fitness, along with some of our personal fitness experiences. Each episode, we'll be covering a wide variety of topics related to overall health and fitness with a no-fluff, real talk perspective.
Welcome, everyone, to this episode of Coach's Corner. Today, we will be discussing the holiday season, blessed and stressed. I'm your host, Dana, and I have hosts Eric and Amy here with me today.
Hey, guys.
All right, we don't have a special guest this week because we feel like we're all pretty special to deliver this to you guys.
So special.
So we have a team question that we are all going to ask each other. So the question is, start off by naming the funniest gift or your favorite gift you've ever received during the holiday season.
Go ahead, Amy.
Oh, all right. I guess weirdest gift. So my uncle owns a trucking company, and whenever, like, if there's like damaged goods or something on the trucking thing, they can buy it out, like the cases of whatever it is. So like every Christmas we would get whatever dented up items were in the truck. So,
So funny.
One Christmas, me and my cousins all got like big like gallon cans, like dented cans of pineapples, like
Wow.
like
crushed
chunks,
pineapples?
like pineapple chunks, yeah. And then one year we all got like big, just yellow mustards.
So did you expect this stuff from him every year? Was it like a thing, or would you just be
No.
like, this year we're
No,
going
that
with...
only happened 2 years. It was really just the pineapple and the mustard. But both times my cousin and I took a picture with it, so we have like little Christmas pictures with our
Very
pineapple and
nice.
mustard.
Very nice. What do you got, Eric?
Well, this wasn't a gift that was given to me. It was given to my oldest brother, but it was still the funniest thing I've ever seen to this day. We still talk about it, joke about it. So not to go dark, but after my grandpa passed away, my grandma started to give the grandchildren some of his possessions that he had. I'm talking everything. Let me preface with this woman, great woman, my grandmother, has zero filter whatsoever. So she'll tell you what's on her mind. One year she gave my dad like diet pills. Like, here you go. I think this will help. That's not the weird gift, but this year for my oldest brother, she gave my grandpa one of his old jock straps.
So she gave your
Just like-
brother, your grandpa,
Yeah, because he played basketball league. She's like, oh, I think you could use this.
Wow,
It's like,
vintage.
all right.
What was the look on his face?
Oh, we just laughed.
Was that
Just-
like
we
his
just laughed.
lucky jockstrap too? Like,
She-
never washed, never cleaned.
I don't think he took a big whiff of it. Like as soon as he
didn't check.
I shouldn't even say mine. Mine, we're just gonna skip on right by it. It was a basketball goal. Like, but the jockstrap truly just set the stage for how blessed and stressed you must
I'm
be.
sure he was very blessed.
Oh.
So blessed. Did he frame it or something? Do we still
You know,
have
that's a
this?
good question. I don't know if he still has it. I should ask him.
You can't
I
get
hope he
rid of
does.
that.
I hope he has
That's
it.
an heirloom.
Was he in front of your grandmother when he opened this?
Oh yeah.
And
So
what
we-
was like her reaction?
Oh, she thought she, just handing around my grandpa's stuff and thinking the kids would enjoy it. And granted, this was a woman, bless her heart. She would always give grandchildren like the Cowboy Musk cologne for Christmas.
Oh, okay.
and
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That is great. That's a
Yeah,
good.
that's
That's a
a
good
good
one. As we start to talk today, really, this is just going to be an open dialogue about a lot of things. I think the holiday season is a really joyous season for some. It can be a very stressful season as well. It can be a very sad season for some. Many people could feel lonely. They could feel sad. They can feel joyous. You always, ask your coworkers. You can see if they're like super into the holiday season or if they're really a Grinch. And like, you always kind of wonder like, what's the backstory here of that? So we're going to talk about some of those things today and how they pertain to your health, and some things that you can do to help feel a little bit more blessed and a little less stressed during the holiday season. So, the first question I would ask, and Amy, I'll turn it over to you, are like, what are some of the things that you've seen, just from your experience, that causes some stress during the holidays?
Well, where do I begin? Well, there's a lot of things. I'll list them off, and then I think we can all go pretty deep into them.
Yeah.
Obviously, family and social pressures. When you get all the people
Big
in
one.
the same room that know
Yeah.
all of your triggers and know how to push all of your buttons.
And then even like your distant family that
Oh, yeah.
doesn't, but like you'll have some that just like, it's not an inappropriate question, but like just things that are like, you know, if I wanted to tell you, you would
Yeah.
know. Or
Right.
like,
Yeah.
just, you know, I always get the question like, well, when are you getting married? And it's
Oh
like,
my gosh.
you know, one, that's rude. Two,
Right.
I'm not real sure.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's one
I
of
thought
those.
that would stop after our first
After
kid.
kids? When are you
Now
having
it's
another
like,
one?
When's your
Another one.
second kid coming?
Yeah.
When are we
Yeah.
getting a dog?
It's like it's social pressures,
Yeah.
but then
Yeah.
it gets like put into the family, so it makes it worse. It's like none of your business, Karen. Like
Yeah.
your extended family,
threw-
my immediate family asked me that too.
I threw my whole family for a loop because nobody was asking when are you getting divorced. So
Yeah.
they didn't see that one
Yeah,
coming.
they don't ask that
You're
too
like,
often.
Yeah, sometimes you got to keep them on their toes.
I
You
have
know?
a holiday announcement.
It's always that first holiday after we
Yeah,
bring
then they
the
get
new
real
boyfriend
quiet.
around.
They get real quiet.
Really
Yeah,
uncomfortable,
shut 'em
like-
all up.
Oh. And then, but then you're the problem. Like,
Yeah.
why is she being so defensive? It's
Uh-huh.
like, why do you think that's
Right.
okay to ask
Yeah.
me that?
Right.
Like,
I feel like it's changed. I feel like our newer younger generations that's changing, but like we still got those old relatives that are gonna ask when's the baby, when you get like
Yeah.
those kind
Yeah.
of things. But I feel like that's starting to change as we're realizing maybe don't ask that.
But I feel like even with not asking, like people are more open to sharing. You know, they're
Yeah.
they're more open to have like a dialogue with you, like a true conversation of like, maybe here's why I'm not getting married, and here's where
Yeah.
I'm struggling with
Well, it's
that.
less taboo
you know?
nowadays,
like,
right? Before it was like, oh, you don't air out your dirty laundry
Yeah.
to everybody. Now it's like, who cares? Just
Yeah.
be real.
Or
I think
it's
it is more open, and like
Yeah.
all the mental health stuff,
Yeah.
and like having a therapist, and like everyone is just more open now.
yeah,
That's
and
nice.
it's not just this like, if you don't get married at 20, your life is over. It's not like get married at 20, have kids by 22, and then turn into your parents and be miserable.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yep.
not, it's
Right.
not like you hear the old country songs like that all the
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
and it's like. Let me go back. My parents are not miserable, actually. I am pretty fortunate in that regard. So if you're listening, I'm sorry.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad.
I did not mean that. But I think family and social pressures are probably maybe number one on the
Yeah.
list.
Well, and too, when you get like big family together too, like politics stuff, like you know,
Ooh.
everyone's got
Or
that
even split
weird
families,
uncle.
split
that's-
households.
And it's
Doesn't-
like some are these days are ready to go.
Yeah, oh,
They're
yeah.
like, I have slept on this all year.
They'll go in on somebody.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
like, I'm ready to share what I
Yeah.
feel.
We are
Like.
unleashing
Yeah.
at Thanksgiving dinner.
And then you
Be some
have
door slams.
you have the other ones that are usually quiet and they're like, I've had enough.
Yeah.
Like, come at me. And it's like, can we just eat some dumplings and like,
So we show up.
jeez.
Hi, bye. We'll see you next year.
Yeah, it's like a it's a real thing.
Yeah.
And it's and even not from like, you know, asking inappropriate questions or politics or like love lives or like jobs, financial,
Yeah.
like even outside of that, just like social pressures to show up, to like go places.
Yeah.
Like my family's really big on that. Like you have to go here. It's like,
and like being around people too.
Mm-hmm.
Like some people just
Yeah.
don't want to be around that many people, that and it's overwhelming. If
Yes.
you're very introverted.
Well,
to
if it's
be,
the holidays, it's the only time you get off a year. If you work in a busy corporate setting or something,
Mm-hmm.
that time you just want to be like, all right, I want to take my own time.
Yeah.
Instead of I got to be here, 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 here.
Yeah.
I know, Eric, you had mentioned like with having young kids, like day of the Christmas celebration, like you
Yeah.
do actually like, no, we're gonna enjoy this. And I've heard
Yeah.
multiple people start to do that where they're like, they tell the grandparents or
Yep.
whatever, like, hey, you're more than welcome to come to
Yeah,
our
exactly.
place. But we're not gonna go here, there, and there. And it's
Yeah.
like,
yeah,
I
we
think
put our
more
foot
people,
down and did
yeah.
that this last year.
How'd it go for you?
It was great. My in-laws, my wife's mom and dad came. They spent the night before. We all woke up. They left at like 10:30, 11,
Yeah.
Perfect.
and we're good, you know?
Perfect.
And then that afternoon, my dad, stepmom, and stepsister and her husband came down that afternoon.
Yes.
Like, all right, cool. We didn't have to go anywhere. It's nice.
That's
Had
nice.
a fire in the morning.
Ours
Good
has
to go.
gotten a lot more relaxing. Like, even through COVID, when you didn't, there was one Christmas where we all hung out. It was just my immediate family. So I only have one brother, and he has nephews, and he's married, and my parents are both still together and alive. And so it was just us, and it was like, kind of like this. But last year it wasn't that extended either, and it was like, it was just really chill and nice. So I think like we take for granted kind of slowing down and just enjoying the day for what it is, because some people have to go to like 4 or 5 houses, and that's just like.
Okay, so that goes into unreasonable expectations as another stressor around the holidays. People being expected to be everywhere and expected to continue on these same big traditions, even as the families change and grow, and keeping everything up and together and decorated. And
I think we even talked about like just the holiday season alone is like even work parties, friends parties, family parties, like
adds up.
Sometimes if you ain't feeling it, don't go. Like
say no.
Yes, say no, because I do think it's like unreasonable expectations on either day of or before, or let's say unreasonable expectations on yourself. Like I think about the family photos with all the people in the whole family in the same pajamas. They got like 5 kids.
Everybody's smiling real
Mom
big.
and dad are in pajamas, and it just looks terrific.
Hand on the shoulders.
Yes, and like one kid just punched the other. The one kid has a dirty diaper. Mom and dad have been fighting all morning.
Little Sally's down here crying.
What if parents have been fighting all morning?
Do
so
it for
it's
the
like,
gram.
Yeah, I'm like, none of that is real.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
one kid had their shirt on their head running around. So we actually do something we started a couple years ago. My immediate family is we actually take a funny picture every year, pretty much like in remembrance of Christmas Vacation, when they're just all chaotic and stuff. So
That's the movie. That's my favorite.
I love that movie.
So we take one every year, my immediate family, and we post it, and it's freaking great. Like my nephew last year, he was super skinny. He had like his rib cages were going. He looked like an alien. Like it was just beautiful. So I mean, definitely. So we have like family and social pressures, unreasonable expectations. What about gifts?
That goes with unreasonable expectations, right?
Man, especially if you have a big family and buying things for them. And I'm like, I do love giving people gifts, but I am just such like a perfectionist. Like I want to give people that exact perfect thing that they're going to love. And then I just freak out. And then like I end up getting nothing because I just run out of time. And then I feel like it's gifts,
I don't like how the
stress
holidays
me
have turned
out.
into a gift competition.
Yeah.
You know, to me, I don't think that's what it should be about. But I know people enjoy giving gifts, which I get that feeling. You like giving people stuff that they like.
It's really hard too. Like I feel like for parents that have children right now, like my nephews are 13 and the other one's 9. He's gonna turn 10 beginning of next year. But like they're really hard to buy for right now because
100%.
and they all
Same.
want just really expensive clothes or really expensive things, electronics. And it's like, man, like how much
Let's skip and tie into our next one of our stressors, financial.
Financial.
No
That
kidding.
ties into gifts too. The holidays are expensive.
Really
Those
expensive.
big gifts, especially when you get kids that age that just
Even
want
if you try to set
electronics and
limits,
nice stuff.
$30. Like it doesn't go very far anymore.
And then,
Yeah.
and then
$30 for 10 people. Okay, now you're $300 deep.
And then
Yeah.
you start to wrap it or set it out like
Yeah.
you would, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh, this ain't nothing. Like,
Right.
this looks really bad. And then
Yeah.
you're like, I got to get this, this, and this. And before you know it, like, you spent $200 more. And it's like, they don't need all this.
Right. So a little hack that I did, I lived down in Florida. This was probably when COVID just started. The company I worked for at that time closed their doors because of it. So we were just strapped. We went full blown, just securing everything down, make sure we could live. At this point, my wife was pregnant. But one of the best things we did for gifts was just write out handwritten, heartfelt notes to people and give it to them.
Oh, that's
telling
awesome.
them how much they mean to us.
Yeah.
That was it.
Like, with
And they
the
really liked
financial
it.
thing, like, I remember when I was interning at UAK in strength and conditioning, like, I had no money, like, broke. I literally was sleeping on a friend's couch for free. She's married, about to have her first baby. I'm sleeping on the couch. Like, felt like a really big winner at that point. But it's like, I had to do this to get where I wanted, but I had no money, none.
Yeah.
And I could barely pay my bills. It was coming up on Christmas, I remember just bawling to my mom because, like, there is no way I could purchase not one single Christmas gift. And my nephews were, like, at a pretty fun age. So I couldn't buy for my mom, my dad, my brother, my nephews, nothing. And she ended up purchasing one gift apiece and putting my name on it to give to my nephews. So, it, like, still to this day, I'm just like, oh, but that feeling, you feel worthless.
Right.
And, like,
Right.
that's a real thing during the holiday season. So when people are like, oh, it's the holidays, and when people seem really stressed, like, think about financially if you are not able to do that, and what really the holiday season's turned into.
Especially now, especially if you're the one hosting, having to cook the meals or the food, the price of food.
That's expensive too.
Now, if you have
traveling.
to travel, the gas, and it's like
Gas is ridiculous. It was like $80 to fill up my car today.
I think
Hate
like
premium gas.
that
It
BMW
hurts. It hurts.
I think Eric found a quote that said, or not a quote, but a statistic that said 1 out of 3 Americans took on $1,300 in debt during the holidays.
crazy.
And then average travel costs. This does not include the plane ticket. Does not include plane tickets. So just like driving or
Gas,
meals.
food,
And this is just the trip there is $580. So that's
And
just
that seems low, too.
and that seems low. I don't think that would be that's probably just the trip there.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
And depending on what you do, if you like go out with your family and get drinks,
this is
and
just
food
the travel.
and, like,
This is just like the travel piece, and it's like, whew. So it's like from there,
expensive.
you know, we mentioned earlier another one would be loneliness, sadness, loss.
Yeah.
Like if you do go through a divorce and this is your first or second holiday season by yourself, things are really different. If you've lost loved ones, significant loved ones that are usually a part of one, your family, or like, let's think about friend group. They always get left out. Everyone's like, oh, I feel so bad for the family. I think about if I would lose my best friends, like
Yeah.
that's gonna hurt. Like
Especially if you're
maybe
so
a little
used
more.
to having
Like
those holiday fun
Yeah.
times with them. It's like
because
big
those are
hole
the
to
people
fill.
like you're day to day.
Yeah.
You are day to day with those people. Like
probably even more close
more
to
than
them
a family.
than family.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, if you have a significant loss like that and you're grieving, like this is not a fun time for you.
Yeah.
And I think if you're single, if you're not married, like this is also a hard time. There's a lot of holiday parties. Things can feel awkward a little
Right.
bit. Or if you're newly dating, things can also feel awkward. Like,
Especially if it's a
What do you
plus
do?
one like party.
Like, when do you get that person?
like,
I don't really know you.
and it's just awkward. Like if you
Yeah.
have to, you know, that's why they make so
Yeah.
many like holiday movies about this because
Yeah.
it's so
Yeah.
awkward. You're just like
Uh-huh.
meeting the family for the first time. It's like I'm just gonna eat my bread over here.
Especially when they got to meet that crazy uncle.
That's why I hang out at the food table.
You're
The
like-
last podcast.
Just eating cheese.
Eating cheese.
I would say like, okay, what are some like let's transition. So we've talked about a lot of things that can be very, very stressful. So that's the stress part. Let's talk about things we can do
The blessing.
to get to the blessings part. So like what are some of the things that you've done personally? Because again, this is opinion piece. This isn't direct fact. What are some of the things that you've done, Eric, to
Yep.
reduce stress in some of those categories that we listed?
Yeah, so going back to the gifts, and this can also transition to the financial side of it because Black Friday is getting sooner and sooner and sooner. You'll see all these ads out there now for these discounted prices for limited time only. But buying gifts before the holidays hit. So my wife and I, we said this year, we're going to have all that done by the end of October.
Are you there?
No, but we still have
2 days.
2 days. We're
You
gonna
better
get
get on
there. Yeah. We've started. We got most of it, so we'll wrap it up here soon and then go from there.
I think for me, like, I don't know. I feel like I don't feel family pressures anymore as much just because, like, I've kind of shut them down where it's just like, I've kind of, that's not, I don't know. I don't know how to explain that. Like, people just don't ask anymore. Maybe that's a bad thing. Now that I think
You've
about it,
trained them. You've trained them
I'm like,
properly.
okay, I'm just gonna sign out of this podcast now. But like, just financially, I've set some limits on like really what I'm very close to my nephews, so I do want to spoil them, even though I know I'm not. I shouldn't, but I don't have children, so it's like they're kind of my babies. But I've set like limits on what I want to spend there and what I want to spend like as a whole, more or less. Like for what am I willing to spend as a whole. We talked about, I know we listed dietary concerns. We talked about that last time in that approach, but the unreasonable expectations, like I just try to set what is going to be a balance for me and adhere to that. And I don't really let outside influencers like
that's
get
one
in
of the
my head.
hardest thing is letting those influencers get in.
If there's one person that can do that, it's gonna be my mom. But like I really try to like.
Yeah.
I just can't do that. Amy, what about you? How do you handle that?
I'm kind of lucky around the holidays where like I love them, and so like I love the holidays. I love the season. I love the lights. I love the music. I don't know. Even though I had a terrible past 3 years, like I don't know if that just made me numb to everything, and it just made me so much easier to just like make boundaries with people and just not care about things.
Yeah.
Like I just enjoy. I honestly I don't know. I don't even know that I have like tips. Okay, for gifts and like financial things, I will make gifts. Like
very cool.
I've gotten to the point where like I have such a big family, especially on my mom's side too, because she has 7 sisters and they all have cousins and kids and stuff like that. So like some years we would like pick like a craft or like some kind of like little useful thing or like, a jar of, I don't know, something and just make it and everyone gets the same thing. And so we just spend like, it's usually me and my mom will spend one, and that's fun because I get to spend time with her too. So we'd spend like one day and making our like craft and wrapping it up and labeling it and whatever. And then we take that to the party and everyone gets their little thing.
Nice.
So it's nice because if you're doing it for a bunch of people, you can kind of buy in bulk, save a little money.
And like somebody made it.
Yeah, you get like fun Christmas time stuff. I don't know. I really like it, but I just also enjoy the whole season, like literally from October until Christmas Day. I just love all of it. But then the day that Christmas is over, like I'm done with the cold. I'm done with the heat. Like I just want it all over.
There's a switch.
Let's go.
And that's when the stress starts for me. That's when I start getting like depressed and like just cold and whatever. But the holiday season is great.
I'm a little bit of the same. Like I enjoy the holidays, but like I also, one tip I would give is like acknowledge what you're feeling. Like if it's sadness, acknowledge that. That's okay. If it's loneliness, acknowledge that. Like search for a community. Just finding what, again, we always go back to like finding what works for you, but everyone is different. You're going to feel differently. Like I'm a little bit like Amy and I enjoy the holidays. And mine aren't really that tough, but there's some things that like I'm just not gonna do. But there's the little things that I do enjoy, the extra time that I get with loved ones that I usually don't, and time to like kind of reflect on the year, good or bad, I guess.
I laugh at a lot. At this point, like, I just find things humorous. Like, I have had so many family Christmases exactly like Christmas Vacation.
Yes.
That, like, at this point, like, you just gotta sit back and just watch things unfold and laugh a little bit. Like,
you have to be like,
don't get caught up in it. Don't get wrapped up in it. Don't let it affect you, which is easier said than done. But just, like, observe.
Right.
I think it's like allowing traditions to be broken too is like a huge one. I think we are such a traditional, like everyone wants these like continued traditions from their grandparents or further down. And when they pass, usually a lot of things change. And then we're just continuing to evolve and evolve. So you're not going to have like the same traditions you maybe had when you were 10 and it was the jolliest time of the year. And now it's just like being able to accept, like we order, for example, we do lots of pasta on Christmas Day and no one has to cook. Like we do little appetizers and then we do that. And we have drinks and we play games. And it's like, we used to do this whole ham and everything. And it's like, the first time we did that, I'm like, ugh. And now I'm like, where's the pasta? Like, you know, because it's so much easier on everybody. And of course, like, I didn't have to do the cooking. Now
Yeah.
I'm older and I do participate in that. And it's just like, it's so much easier on everyone. And it's not a big deal that you didn't have ham.
I will
Yeah.
say that for the people that may be feeling lonely, this is something. So my mom's never remarried before, so she kind of lives by herself. And on Thanksgiving, she always goes and helps with some kind of food kitchen.
I love that.
Just because she does her Thanksgiving with me and my brothers the weekend before, because
Yeah.
she knows that we have all the in-laws, the other sides of the families. So she's like, we'll get it done. You guys can do your thing. And she goes helps with kitchens because she feels good for doing that. And I think a lot
Yeah.
of people could get that if they are feeling lonely.
It's something that I've always wanted to do on Thanksgiving Day. And I feel bad saying I have not. And like, I think
Yeah.
that's such a great idea because it's like, you're not only dissipating your loneliness, but you're also like giving back to the community.
But one of the food kitchens she helps out with now, they have a little 5K mixed in with it. It's called Couch to Kitchen.
Yeah.
So all the volunteers, they'll do a little 5K, and they have this like GPS thing. We can track her
Oh, so
remote, and we can
cool.
see her and send her messages along it. And then after that's done, they all go to the kitchen and help serve.
Very
Wow.
I'm
cool.
like, that's really cool.
That is cool. Shoot.
And she feels good about it. She's around people
Right.
and like she feels good about what she's doing.
Yeah.
Like exactly when we said like search for a community, that's a great way to do that.
Yeah.
Like, and do you know any of your friends that aren't doing anything? Do you know any events that are
Yeah.
going on? Like maybe it's the perfect time to meet someone similar to you. Or I think like don't abandon healthy habits will like
Yeah.
actually reduce your stress. Cause like how many times we've gotten to Christmas, right? So we went
You've had that
all the
whole month.
whole thing,
Yeah.
and then you go to wear something, and you're like, I look like a busted can of biscuits, like
Nice and
and
soft.
it's like that will actually reduce some stress as well. I would say like
Just
next
the
one,
image in my mind from that.
like how do you all take breaks though? Like we
Yeah.
have in here one of the stress management tips for holidays is to take a breath, recover. What are some of the ways you guys do that?
I like to go for a lot of walks. I enjoy so I don't know where everyone is, but in Louisville, Kentucky, it's pretty cold in the winter. I still like to bundle up and take a walk, especially like around the holiday season, even like an evening walk and look at the lights and stuff. But yeah, just by myself, take my dog, I bundle her up. She gets cold. She's
so
little.
cute.
I won't take her in the snow. There's a little pause, but yeah, I like to go for a walk, fresh air, exercise, and alone time. It's
Yeah.
the trifecta right there.
And if you're like listening to something you're really into,
Yeah.
like whether it's music, whether it's a podcast, like it's truly self-care. I would say that's mine too. Is like, again, I'm in Louisville, Kentucky as well, and it gets a little chilly, but I learned this when I was competing in bodybuilding. I swear it's taught me a lot. I hate it, but it taught me a lot. Is I used to have to go for like morning cardio, like slow cardio. And my coach would just be like, all I need you to do is go for a walk. It was literally December. But I got so used to like bundling up and like so I wasn't cold and going for a walk. And it's so nice to feel like a brisk air on your face
Yeah.
that's not
Yeah.
too cold.
I agree.
It kind of wakes you up
Yeah.
actually, and you feel better than you would really if you were hot when it's cold like that. And it's like just a 20-minute
Yeah.
walk and if it's sunny out on a winter day, it's like I love that.
I love when you start warming up a little bit and you can
Just an
unzip the
fresco.
coat
Yep.
a little
Just-
bit, just a little breeze
What that
down the
feel
neck.
is
Like,
truly like.
Yeah.
So I would say that is the big one for me too. Is like getting out in nature, finding some sun, and just having some alone time as well. Eric,
Yeah.
what do you do to recover or take a breath?
Yeah, so this doesn't really fall in line with the healthy habits, but I'm a big bourbon guy. So after the little one goes to bed, I love to, and I have probably 5, 6, 7 books on this, but love to make different cocktails.
Oh,
And
very
kind of
cool.
experiment
Very cool.
and see what I like.
What's been
So,
your favorite one? Do you have one? Because that's really neat.
Yeah, so
Neat. That's a
no pun intended.
Pun intended.
I always go back to the classics, and one I actually made this for when my mom did her little weekend before Thanksgiving thing, but it was just an apple jack cocktail. So use apple brandy,
Okay.
use a rye whiskey or bourbon,
Yep.
and you had a little apple slice, and you had a candied apple slice, and then with some cinnamon, shake it, makes it so good.
Wow.
It sounds
So
delish.
it was so good.
How many bad ones have you had? Where
A
you're like,
lot.
oh,
Yeah, a lot. I've tried to mix some stuff that shouldn't be mixed, and I'm like, never again.
That's so fun though. I like that.
that is fun.
Ooh, I have another one.
Yeah.
Hot showers in the winter.
When you're
let's not
freezing,
overlook those. At the end,
yes.
like the day, it's very cold. I try not to have my heat up too high. Save a little money. House is freezing.
Yeah.
Just get in a hot shower,
Yes.
and then it's very miserable to get
Just
out.
sit
But
there
the
with your
shower
hands.
is great. Yeah.
I'm actually a big I actually love decorations. So during the holiday season, I really love to just like sit down in my house and turn off all the lights and have my candles lit and my tree on and like
Nice.
I
just-
do love the tree
just
ambiance.
watch-
Tree with the
watch a
fire,
little-
with the movie.
watch a little Lifetime
yes.
movie.
Sip a little hot chocolate.
Yes, it's so peaceful. Like if you have kids, just bless you. I don't know what you. I don't have anything.
It's called
for
early
you.
bedtime.
Early bedtime. Start setting
Yeah.
early.
Change your
bedtimes.
clocks back. So it gets
Yeah,
dark
right.
anyway. I don't
Right.
know. Turn your clocks back an hour.
I would say too, like, we're talking about tips for stress management during the holidays. Like, if all this is too much, literally, like, seek professional help.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
it's just someone to talk to that is not your mom, not your sister, not your wife, not your best friend. Like, literally, what if you're sad? You're just sad, and you don't want to share that with somebody, and you really don't need them to like look at you with those eyes and feel bad for you.
Right.
Like, you really just need to talk. Like, do it.
Yeah.
There's no stigma around that. Like, actually, we found a statistic that said the highest month of searching for therapists is January.
Because everyone came out of
It's
the
after
holidays.
the holidays.
They're
They
like,
put it off. They got too
Makes
busy.
sense.
oh, help me.
Yeah.
Like,
the train got too far off the tracks.
Yep.
yes. So it's like, get there before that, if this is a really hard time, because I do have people in my life that this time of year is heartbreaking for them. They have experienced great grief in their life, and it is almost unbearable. And it's like, how do you really get through that when everyone around you is just like so
Yeah.
joyful, and this is just such a reminder of what you don't have anymore?
Well, you get that feeling, you start putting that fake face on,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And I hate that. Like, my wife and I started doing that before we made the decision. We're staying here with
Yeah.
our daughter. We're like, we're tired of being fake.
Yeah. Or you turn to like substances and
Right,
things like that.
right.
Like, let's do something about it before we get there. And it's like, there's really nothing wrong with that, because the holidays can be really stressful, but how can we eliminate the stress and get you a little bit more blessed?
Right.
So, I really think we shared a lot of tips here today. I think you can take some of those tips, maybe not all of them really resonated with you, but maybe a few, and put those into practice during this holiday season. And we hope you become a little less stressed and a little bit more blessed.
Stay blessed.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks,
Bye,
guys, for
y'all.
joining. We'll see you next
Thanks,
episode.
guys.